Good morning, friends. Myself, Romit Mehta, working as a software developer at 42Gears, Rajkot. Before we start, I would like to place on record my gratitude to Professor Darshan Jani, Professor Toshal, and my manager, Mr. Rinkal Kumar Banderi, for this wonderful opportunity. So, I am not sure many of you have heard the name of version control system or Git likewise, but Git is one of the most developer essential tools. It is one of the rule that is not mentioned in the rule book, something like that. For example, Git, something like working with Jira and other softwares, they are not mentioned in the rule book, but it is good to have the knowledge about it. Okay, can any one of you tell me, have you heard about the name Git?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. Can you elaborate what is Git? How much you know about it?
Sir,
Anyone?
for Git, personally, I use Git to just push my code for backup.
Correct, correct. Okay, so today's session we will be having the overview regarding what is Git, what is version control system, using GitHub as a version control system. Okay, so this webinar is not specific to any programming languages, likewise Java, Python, or C Sharp, any sort of this. But for information and for pushing the file, we would like to use Java. So I must assume that you must are familiar with Java, right? You are familiar with Java, correct? Are you guys familiar with Java? Hello, are you all asleep or what?
Yes,
They are
familiar.
Yes, okay. So, so this is not target, as I said, this is not targeted to any specific framework or any specific language, likewise PHP, C Sharp, or Java or Python, namely. But we would be doing it practically. So for practical purpose, we would be like to using the Java program. Okay. So one request I need to make is that if you find any difficulty in the presentation or if you find any doubts in what I have conveyed up till now, just you can unmute your mic and say it. Rest of you can mute the mics and listen patiently to the presentation. Okay, so moving over to the agenda. So this is the topics we would be covering for this webinar. That is, what is version control system, how to use version control system, how to install and configure it, some basic commands and collaborations, and some of the most used Git functionalities. Okay. So any one of you have the idea of version control system? Version control system and Git both are used likewise, but they both are different. Okay. First of all, what is version control system? Before diving into what is version control system, I would like to explain why we need version control system and what problem is caused when we are not using version control system. Okay, I am sure many of you have faced this scenario before. In our developer's life, for example, you are coding on a project. For example, you are preparing your final year project, okay, and you are only one team member in your project, and you are working day and night, and after a last day of before the last day of submission, you got everything working and everything seems working, okay. Now, after sleeping, a sudden thought came to your mind that why this functionality cannot be added. You thought of something added feature of your project, okay, something like you are making a Instagram clone or a social media feature, okay. So you got the idea that why not to add the like button or why not to add the comment button, okay. So what you did is just opened the code and made the necessary changes, but unfortunately your changes will not work because some of the errors have been crept in. Okay, so what you will do is you just undo all the changes, okay, but undoing also will not help because you might delete one extra file that is required, or you might keep in the extra changes you have made. Understood the scenario? Let's see over here. Suppose Bob is a software engineer and he is working on some really cool project. Okay, and he has come to a point where his project is up and everything seems fine. Okay, now Bob is working on a project and everything seems fine, that all his functionalities are working as expected, and now he is satisfied. Now a day after a day, his idea, another idea came to his mind that he should add this feature to his existing project. Okay, so which can add this project to a next level. So Bob decided implementing his idea, but unfortunately his program broke up. So it is not now working as it used to work before. Okay, new changes are also not working, and now even old changes which we had done earlier is also not working as expected. So what the does is Bob just undoes all his changes. But after undoing the changes, some errors are there in compiling, and some errors are also there in output. He's not getting the expected output. So what he does is that he checks that whether any line has been missed or whether line has been deleted extra. That is the previous project which was working, he might have deleted that line also. So, so Bob undoes his changes and makes it before, but for some reason, program still crashes because maybe he has missed a line or he has deleted a one required line. Understood the scenario? Kindly respond.
Yes, Sumit.
Okay. So if you want to change this, if you want to save yourself from this kind of situation, just assume that you might have a system that can save the state of a program. For example, when your program is running, you could have a system that you could save the state of the program, that this is the version 1.1 and this is the final version that is working. Now I have to make the changes. So you make the changes in 1.1, but still 1.1 is already saved in your remote. So you go and change your new feature in 1.1, but now it is crashing all again. So what you do is you just go back to a previous version, okay, without doing the manual effort. This can be done by manual effort, but just examine a scenario in which there are multiple of code files and multiple of projects. So in the enterprise level scenario, you will not be able to do it manually, or if it can be done manually, it will be time consuming and it might not be an error free. Okay, there is a minimal chances of human error due to this. Okay. Okay, so why version control system is needed? So this is the problem which some of you or few of them might have faced in their coding lifestyle. Okay, now let's assume scenario number 2. Okay, the scenario was you are only working in your own project. Now let's assume a scenario 2. Suppose your team and you, that is your final year team, and you both were working on some really cool project. Okay, and now as you know and you give the idea, so you just created a foundation and set the code to all your teammates over Google Drive. Okay, many of you might have been doing it. Okay, suppose many of you don't get the practicals done correctly, so you might have been sharing to your classmates over Google Drive or Gmail. Okay, so what you did is that you and your team were working on some really cool project, and after that your friend also wants to contribute it to your project. So what you do is you just share your code over Google Drive. Okay, so you and your friend, assume that your friend is Alice. Okay, so you and your friend both have the same file that you have created. Okay, now on the day before submission, Alice and you both got interesting idea that this should be done added to your project. Okay, so you both added that particular portion, not same portion. Alice got the idea of comment feature and you got the idea of like feature. Okay, okay, assuming that your project was on Instagram clone, that is you make the replica of Instagram. Now what happens that suppose you and Alice both did the changes in the same file and in the same code. Okay, so now on the day of presentation, you just combine the Alice file with yours. So what happens is that Alice changes might have overridden by your changes. Okay, so Alice changes might not come, or your changes might not come, or Alice changes might not come. Any of one scenario can happen. Okay, so you just manually went to the file and see what was it. And but since it was a very last day, you had short of time and nothing worked fine. And later on, you got a B grade in your final year project examination. So this is very unfortunate scenario, correct? So now think of a system that collaborates with every your team members, okay? And you could do the changes in your files, and without manual effort, you could just merge it both the files into a one single file without his or her, without your changes or Alice changes being overridden. Means both of your changes can come inside one file, and your both changes can work simultaneously. Okay. Got the scenario. Any doubts up till here? Hello. Are you guys? Did you guys have tea or something like that? Okay, assuming that you have no doubts. Yes, yes. Please speak up.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so so what is version control system? So we would be doing it practically, as well as I would be giving the theory examples as well. So this is a theory part, and afterwards we will be moving into the practical part. Okay. So as per the agenda, why VCS is needed. Okay, so this is the pretty bright scenario that you might have faced or you might face in your coding lifestyle. Okay, once you become a software engineer into a multinational company, this scenario will come into you very often. So why Git is designed, and why not Git, but why version control system is designed, just to overcome this type of scenarios. There are multiple scenarios why we need version control system, but these two scenarios are very efficient to understand it, and you can understand it very better. Okay. Uh, so what is version control system and what is overview? Okay, a version control system and its overview. Okay, so it keeps a version for every file and directory. Sorry, it might it is not a question mark, it is an exclamation mark. So it keeps the version for every file and directory. Suppose you did hello world.java project. Okay, so once you did it, once you pushed your code into Git directory, version is saved it. Okay, now afterwards you make the changes, and now you see that it is not working, and I want to do as it was before. So what you do is just revert your changes and just go to your last commit, and just take the last commit what it was there. So your changes would now be working as perfect as it was working before. Okay, before any changes. Okay. Now why version control system is needed. So document changes. So if you are changing a document, that is a file or something like that, it changes with the description given along. Okay, suppose I need to add a one new file. Okay, you are suppose you and Alice, both of you are a team in a final year project, and you added some interesting cool feature. So when you are pushing to the Git, it is mandatory to write the description regarding the file what you are pushing it. Okay, for example, that you are giving a like button functionality of an Instagram clone project, just write that implemented the right like button functionality in our project. Okay, so it will be very easier to just find it out who did the work. Suppose this is the scenario of very two, but suppose um, assume a giant company example or a giant project example. Suppose you are working on a Facebook or Google, so it might have thousands and billions lines of codes, and many multiple files in thousands of files. Okay, so it might very be difficult to track who all did the changes. Okay, so and so Git works mainly during our development scenario, but it is very useful uh, in your academic career also, because you could just push your files, and you could just create a kit of your practicals given and just share it over you, not to our mail, but you can just share the Git URL, and your professor might able to view it over there. So there is no need of writing the manual programs or something like that. Okay. So okay, it displays the difference between what you have changed and what it was before. Okay, suppose you are suppose hello world.java program is there before also. Okay, and now you made some addition changes, that hello world and welcome to my kingdom. Okay, suppose this is the text you have made it. Okay, now when you type the command, that is git difference, you would be able to see it. Even the space changes, even the indentation changes would be able to view. You would be able to view that what all the changes have been done from the last commit we did, and now what we are done. Okay, so you can compare both of the changes, that what changes you have done. Okay, and as I told that we are writing the author I mean that who did the changes, and we are writing the message. So it will be easier to track that who did the who did the change and what the change was specifically by the message. Okay, and and lastly, I would like to resume. I would like to mention that a lot of tier one and tier two companies. Okay, you might be understanding about tier one and tier two companies. Tier one companies and tier two companies are companies which are listed in the stock markets, that is US stock markets and Indian stock markets, with their market value of billions and millions. Okay, so once like Facebook, Amazon, and Infosys, likewise. Okay, you might have heard of many of these names before. Okay, so when you go to your interview or something like that, they might ask you the OOPS concept and all these things. But if you know the Git, it can be a added advantage to your resume. Okay, it can add a feather, extra feather in your resume. Okay, because the Git is the one thing which developers needs it. Okay, but as a student, you might have uploaded or you might have pushed your final year project and just share the resume, share your URL in the resume. It might be able to only your Git will be useful to get you selected in that multinational companies. Okay, so as you are going upper in the higher semesters, you might need to be aware in the latest trends in the technology field. Okay, IT field. Okay, so our change is not, our field is not very studious. Okay, it changes in every day, every second, and now even in the millisecond. So you need to be updated with each and every thing that is being done in the our world. Okay, IT world. Okay, now going back to our agenda. So what is version control system? That is quite clear by the scenario I gave you. You might have experienced it also. So how to use version control system? Okay, now installation and configuration, basic commands, collaboration, and functionality. Okay, functionalities. Okay, so I was just want to ask you a question that did you have heard the name of Arogya Setu app launched by the government in the before?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
You might be probably aware that just after Arogya Setu app was launched, within 1 or 2 months, a white hat hacker, okay, which hacks for an ethical way, okay, which hacks in an ethical way just to give the security flow and security threats in the code. Okay, a white hat hacker. This is a real-time incident that happened with Arogya Setu. Okay, so white hat hacker just told that Arogya Setu developers that your code has many security flows, that is many security threats. So if the code is being done to the if the public has been downloading it and the public has been viewing and adding their personal details, it might be some threat can be there in their data given by the public. Okay. So what Arogya Setu did is that Arogya Setu, the team of Arogya Setu just analyzed the code and they were not able to find any vulnerability. Okay, they hired many security professionals also, but they were not able to find any vulnerabilities in the given code. So what they did is they just open source that their Git code, their code. Okay, so you might have heard the difference between proprietary code and open source code. Okay, so open source is the code that is available for any of them. Okay, you not might be needing the licensing or something like that. You can just view the code and you can just make the necessary changes required. Okay, and that particular code can be running for you. And if you want that code, if you find some bug and you just corrected the bug, so you just want that code to be merged into that final code, you just can send a merge request. Okay, so the collaborators, I mean the one who are authorized to merge the request, will review it and merge it. Okay, so what the Arogya Setu did is the Arogya Setu open source the project. Okay, so what happens in the open sourcing, why it helps it, that you might think that the private one is good because we have spent lots of our coding, and why we should open source it, because we have done multiple changes in our code, and after anyone sees it, they might be able to replicate our own app. Okay, correct. But yes, that is the problem. point that they can replicate it, but there is another positive side of it also, that someone can help you in developing your own code. Okay, something you are not aware, you are very good at developing the codes, but you are not good at the security flows and networking. Okay, so someone might help you that this is the network leak, so you should send it in an encrypted manner or something like that. Okay, so they can contribute to your project. Correct. So let me show you. See, this is the Git, and this is the Arogya Setu code. Okay, so that was lastly committed on June 1. Okay, so you could just see the source code of the Arogya Setu app, and you could just take it to your local system, and you could just make the modifications required. Okay, so this is the main, this is the Arogya Setu app, and let's see that location. Okay, so okay, there is nothing done in the location app. Let's see localization. Okay, so this is the local manager.java. Okay, so you are able to see the Java and Java based coding on Android. Okay, so they did just open source their code, and many of them might be able to just see. Many of them might able to point out the issues in the code, or many of them might help to solve the issues which are reported before. Okay, so only use of this collaboration is to help to reach as many as people as possible. Even Linux and all these things are open sourced. Okay, you might be aware of in your operating system. You might have been in it might be in your curriculum also. Okay, now let's just I give the overview of why we need version control system. Okay. Now let's move on to what is version control system. Okay, so I gave the real-time problem, okay, that you might be aware of, but I told you that assume a scenario like a state. Okay, you are doing a project and everything is working fine. So what you do is just save the state of a program, that this particular code is now working fine. Now I just save it. Okay, just like your local saving, control plus s. Okay, so you are just saving it, your particular uh, snapshot of a program. Okay, now you make the changes, and now again the changes works fine. Then okay, you just merge it with your earlier merge commits. Okay, but now it is not working. You could just take the earlier code which was working from the git. Okay, so the maintenance of states. Okay, so you are adding one state, two state, three state, four state, but at a state you think that this state is not working, you need to go to the previous state. Okay, so working and maintenance of state, and you are working with the states. So that dealing of states and maintenance of state is called a version control system. Okay, correct. Got it.
Ron, sir,
Yes, yes, please.
is it like GitLab?
Yes, see, version control system contains that many of them. There is Git, GitLab, AWS Code Commit, Mercurial, etc., Helix Core. Okay, but the most popular one is GitHub, GitLab, most popular one. So we will be diving into GitLab. So version control system is a whole sub thing. Okay, and whole super thing, and inside the sub thing would be GitHub, GitLab, something like that. Okay. એટલે વર્ઝન કંટ્રોલ સિસ્ટમ એક આખું છે ને મોટું ક્લાઉડ છે, અને એની નીચે આ બધા ટાઈપ્સ આવે. વર્ઝન કંટ્રોલ સિસ્ટમ જ હું હજી સમજાવું છું, પછી વર્ઝન કંટ્રોલ સિસ્ટમની સ્પેસિફિક ગીટમાં આપણે જાશું, એ પછી આપણે જઈએ હવે નેક્સ્ટ સ્લાઇડ્સમાં.
Okay, okay.
ઓકે, એની ડાઉટ સ્ટીલ? So okay, so now let's dive into setting up the Git account and setting up the remote repositories and basic commands of Git. See, as I told, there are many version control systems available in the market, but the most popular one is Git. The most popular હોય Git છે, અને alternatives are Helix Core. One second, I forgot that if you want to write the commands, or if you want to make a note, just pause me, that I can just pause for a minute or a while, and you could write that something you might think. I will share the PPT also if it can come to your use also. Okay. So there are many other alternatives for Git. That is, sorry, yes, for the Git, that is Helix Core, AWS Code Commit, Mercurial, but Git is the open sourced one. Okay. Now let's go and download the Git. Okay. Okay, so there are multiple results of this Git download, but this is the one. Git SCM is the one of the official and trusted site for this Git, and this is the official site. Okay, so prefer from downloading this of the official sites only. Okay, so according to your uh, OS version and its specifications, just download it. Mine is Windows 64-bit version, so I would be downloading it. Yes, okay, it took it by itself only. Okay, meanwhile it downloads, let's navigate back to our PPT. Okay, so after downloading it, we would be just firing up the simple commands just to check it that whether the Git has been installed perfectly or not. Okay, so are you guys clear up till now? Okay, you could just add your final year project or something. You could just add your uh, manual code also. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm just installing the Git. I'm just saving the default thing only. Okay, I'm not making any changes. So with the default settings only, I'm installing it. Next, 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 next. Okay, so it is extracting it. Okay, so I'm not launching the release notes. I'm launching the Git bash only. Okay. Git bash is a Git terminal, something like that. Okay, so this is a Git bash, and this would be near about our screen for the nearly half of this now, half of this webinar. Okay, from now onwards, we would be just navigating, focusing on not this PPT, but only the practical files. Okay, so for to check whether the Git has been downloaded and configured properly, just type the Git command. Okay, so you would get a long list and some commands and some other commands which can be used. Okay, so once this is done, then you could see the changes. If it's not done, then you could see a error message, something like that. It is a not recognized internal or external program, something like that. If I'm not mistaken. Okay. Now let's see the what version we are using it. Okay, so let's see Git version Windows 2.28.0. Windows point 1. Okay, so this is the Windows Git version which is already installed in our PC. Now let's go to config. Okay, so this Git config hyphen list. Okay, I'm just copying the commands over here. Okay, just take a note of it. Okay. Okay, so this all the commands are not used for this particular session. If time permits, I would just explain all these commands also. But as of now, for this session, only these two things are required. That is username and user email. Okay, what is this username and what is this user email? So, okay, suppose you are pushing a file. Okay, but as I learned that one of the Git functionalities, you can track the changes. Who did the who did what changes? Okay, you can track the changes. Okay, but so to track the changes, you need to insert your name as well as email ID. Okay, so for example, let's go to our Arogya Setu app. See, this is the Chandrapal Yadav who did the comment. Okay, so we could just view the history over here and we could track it. So instead of Chandrapal Yadav, your name should come over here. Okay, when you are pushing your first file, okay, into your repository. Okay, for this name is been used. You can set it by, okay. Okay, so as I will already set it because it was previously installed in my version, so I'm just writing the command, but I will not be executing it, just to set the name. Okay, git global config hyphen hyphen global user dot name would be something. Okay, your name would become, yeah, okay, got it. And let's say now I'm changing my name to Amit Mehta. Okay, now again typing the config list command, it has been changed to Romit Mehta. Okay, now similarly goes for, now I'm changing back to Romit. Okay, now lists, and now the name has been changed back to Romit. Okay, now again I just want to config, I would just want to add my username to my all the clones. Okay, uh, if you guys find anything difficult understanding, just unmute yourself and raise up your voice. Uh, okay, yes. Okay, at the rate gmail.com. Okay, so your name and your email has been successfully stored in the git config file. Okay, so whenever you push or pull something, this name will be shown over here that Romit did the changes this day ago, or what changes Romit has done. Okay, by this email ID and by this name. Okay, so it will be very easier to track what changes has been done by whom. So if something arises up, why, so we can go to that particular person and tell why this change was needed and why did you do it. Okay, uh, for our particular program, let's go back. uh, okay, I'm creating a one new folder. Okay, refreshing it. I'm particular folder in which all git thing I'll be git webinar, sorry, typo, git webinar. Okay, so this folder I have created it. Now inside all these folders, what I will do is I will just write one or two sample programs, and I will just show you how to push, pull, and how to use GitHub as our remote version control system. Okay, so inside this particular folder, okay, so you need to tell Git that this file needs to be tracked. Okay, so this file needs to be tracked. I mean, in the sense that this file needs to be tracked by every change is made. Okay, so Git will not do it manually. Okay, you have to tell the Git very first time that this, all the files inside this folder should be tracked. Okay, that means that Git should keep the track of all the versions, that what changes has been done, when the changes have been done, and why these changes has been done by the giving the message command. Okay, correct, got it. Okay, so git init is the command in which you would tell the git specifically that inside this particular folder of git webinar, you git is supposed to track all the files. Okay, track in the sense that any changes made, anything done, anything other, any changes, even the space changes can be done. If done, git has to track it. Okay, so what we do is just we initialize the git repository. Okay, so git init. Okay, okay, fine. uh, my it would just initialize uh, hidden file, but hidden files. Okay, see, this is the git thing. So once this type of folder is present in your particular repository, so this means that this particular git webinar folder is being tracked by git. Okay, so it will be very easier for you to make any changes and go back to your previous version and come back and do everything you want. Okay, without doing manual changes, and which will help not to crash your code, but it will help in your development. Correct. So I just advise you not to go inside this folder and not to change anything inside this folder, because this contains the information of what you have changed, what you have been tracking it. So unless and until you are qualified and you know about much more about it, Don't just go to this folder. If you are qualified, you can just go it. For this, I'm just opening the folder. I'm just saving you what all the contents it has. Okay. Later on, if time permits, I will just show you what these folders are for. Okay. Now diving back to a side webinar, what I did is just I typed the command of git init. So what the git init does is that any programs in this particular Git webinar folder will be tracked by Git, correct? So now I am going to VS Code. Okay, so I will add a new file over here. For example, let's add a simple Java program. Hello class, hello world. Okay, public static void main. As I told, the agenda of this course is not to compare the Git version tools and not to dive into specific programming languages. But since these programs might be useful in understanding the Git completely thoroughly, I'm using the Java as coding language. System.out.println and let's see that hello world. Okay, ORLD, hello world. Okay, now I'm just saving it. Where I need to save it is I'm going to desktop and Git webinar. I'm just saving over here to Git webinar. Okay, sorry. I just saved it now. Okay, so this is now the Java file. Okay, correct. So what I will do is I will just go and open folder over here. I would just Git webinar, select folder, Git webinar, select folder. Okay, so I'm just undoing the changes over here. Let's delete it manually. This text file is not needed. I'm just deleting it. I'm just going back. Okay. So I'm just compiling it. So, okay, opening in integrated terminal. Can anyone tell the uh, commands to compile a Java program? Hello.
Java C compile,
Okay, Java C.
then file name hello world.java
Hello world.java.
and enter.
Okay.
Yes, it's compiled now. Java
Java.
space file name hello world.java.
Hello world dot
Java.
Java. Okay.
Yes, it's
So this output has been shown. So this file has been completely executed. Okay, and hello world is the output which we intended it. Okay. So this is the file. Okay. Do you know the difference between .class and .java? Any one of you? Okay, see, Java file is the one which we are writing the coding in it. Example, system.out.println, class, integers, and other operations we are doing it. That would be .java file. Okay, but what is the class file? The class file is once we are compiling the file, the compiler will just convert your Java coding into a interpretable friendly language. That is the language which interpreter understands. Okay, so it will be .class file, and the class file would be now run by your JRE and JDK. Okay, so this is not the scope of our topic. So just for out of curiosity, I just asked the question. Okay, so .java class file is not needed as of now because this might be related to machine specific. But as though Java is not platform dependent, I am deleting it this class file. Okay, So Java file is there. Okay, now what I want to do is okay. Okay, understood up till now. સમજાઈ ગયું ને બધાને? Any response, please?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me if you are going too fast or too slow. Is it the correct speed?
Yes.
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Thank you, thank you. Now, what are the stages of Git? Okay, stages એટલે શું કે Git ના stages શું છે એમ આપણે બધા ફાઇલ જે સેવ કરીએ છીએ એ બધું ક્યાં જાય છે કેવી રીતના વર્ક કરે છે એટલે stages. Okay, so there are three stages of Git. That is, first one is working repository, second one is staging area, and third one is normal repository. Okay. So working repository means the one which we are working on it. I mean, which we are changing, which we are coding, which we are doing the changes in it. For example, in our case, working repository would be Git webinar folder, okay, or Git webinar directory. Anything could be suiting it, okay. Now, what is staging area and what is repository? We will be diving back to this. Okay, so working directory is in which we are doing all the changes in it. Okay, for example, this is our working repository. Okay, in this we will be doing all the changes of development of our tier. Okay, now going back. Okay, so directory in which source code is present and directory in which development is done is called working repository, correct? So for our scenario, a Git webinar folder will be a working directory. Okay, so you need to add it over to a staging area. What is staging area? Consider it as an intermediate thing. Okay, it is when you have done compiling and everything successfully executed. So you need to shift your code to working repository to staging area. Okay, so staging area means the intermediate thing which will just shift your working repository code into a staging area. It will be there in the working repository, but remotely it will be keeping a copy in the staging area as well. Okay, so how to add this file into a staging area? So command would be, first of all, git status. So git status would be saying that, see, first of all, we had initialized. Okay, so after initializing, Git would now maintain the status of it. Okay, for example, I am now going to make another folder. Okay, in which I have not done any init command. Okay, now what I do is I just go over here, I just go and do is git status. Okay, so what it will say is it is not a Git repository. Okay, I mean that this is not initialized by Git, so this particular folder is not tracked by Git. Okay, and over here when first we did git init command, okay, you remember, right, guys? Okay, so git, on doing git status, we would be having this file. Okay, hello world.java file. Okay, so this file that after doing git initialization, this file has been added. Okay, so this file tells it that this file is been added. Would you like to add it? Would you like to commit it? That is, would you like to add it to your staging area? Okay, so what you want to do is, sorry, git add file name, that is hello world.java. Okay, now you have added into your staging repository. Okay, working repository was when you just compiled the file and when you just did the coding. So all the changes will be there in working repository by default. Okay, now by doing this command git add hello world.java, it now moves to the staging area. Okay, now again afterwards I am doing it is git status. Okay, so it will show it that nothing has been changed like this way. Okay, now I'll come up to this file, what are the commits and what are these branches to the later part of this webinar. Okay, so there are no commits on the branch yet. Okay, now what needs to be done is that if we have just moved our code from working repository to staging area. Now the main area where repository are stored. Okay, so this is the final one, where the final destination, where everything can be hosted, where everything can be kept safe and confidential. Okay, so what we would do is just we would add it. Okay, but before adding to repository, we cannot directly add from working repository to direct repository. Okay, you need to add it compulsory into staging area. By adding through to add to it staging area, there is a command, that is git add file name. Okay, but committing these changes, okay, first one will have this to this synchronization, or this to this transition would be done by add command, and staging area to repository transition would be done by commit command, correct? So uh, now we would be doing is git commit. Git commit -m and messages. We would be writing the message that is uh,
First,
okay, my first commit, right? Okay, or something like that. That my first commit would not be suiting. What we did is added hello world dot java file. Okay, okay. So now this is been committed to a repository. This stage. Okay, now this has come to this stage. Okay, final destination state. So this message was what I was telling was that this one added hello world dot java file. Okay, so this is the message which we will be talking about. So okay, so when you go to git, and when you go to git, now another command is git log. Okay, see git log. See, another change is the name Romit, and my email address, that is metharomit@gmail.com. And what I added is this was the time, that is 10:55:11. I just added a commit, and what was the commit is that added hello world.java file. Okay, so this can be very useful in tracking that what all the changes has been done in the project. Okay, and this is the commit ID, which would not be diving it further, but this is a random number ID which would be very helpful to create a very unique commit. Okay, so this commit ID is very important in identifying unique and individual commits. Okay, so every commit would be having a new set of commit ID, and this commit ID is very useful for the Git to identify the changes made by whom, author. Okay, correct. Added, understood up till now.
yes.
Okay, fine.
Sir, what is that master?
Okay, master is a branch, but probably we would be covering within half an hour, next half an hour. So it is not as advisable. We would dive it not now. Okay, right. Uh, okay, now for example, let's add a new file to our Git webinar. That would be greetings.java. Okay, correct. Did. Let's copy paste the code. Sorry. Control A, Control C, Control V. That's greetings. Uh, Stay safe. Correct. This is another file. Okay. Now I am not compiling this file. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Greetings. Now what I do is I just navigate back to Git, and I will clear all these things. Okay. Now Git status. Okay, so it will see that this new file has been added. Okay, so what I told it, it keeps the track of all the files we have changed, all the files we have added, all the files we have modified it. Okay, in this example, what we did is we just added a new file, that is greetings.java. Okay, so compared to the previous commit we did it, that is added hello world.java, what has all been changed? Nothing has been changed in hello world.java file, but in greetings.java file it was not present before, and now it is there. Okay, So this is the change or track changes I was talking about. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Now what I will do is, now I want to add it into a staging repository. What is the command of it, staging repository? Can any of you guys recall?
Git add.
What?
Git add.
Yes, correct. So git add and file name. That would be greetings dot java. Okay, so it has been added. Now again we would be doing the git status. So see, this file is been added. Okay, new file greetings.java, as compared to the previous commit. Okay, what was the previous commit? That was we added just a hello world.java file. Okay, so that was hello world.java. Now a new file has been there, that is greetings.java. Now again, now git status, or let's see, git, we would be just committing it, git commit hyphen m, that will hyphen n stands for the message. Okay, added greetings java file. Correct, sorry, it was in uppercase, no problem. See, now it would show that this file has been changed and 7 insertion has been done. 7 insertions remain in the coding side. Okay, so see, total in total there are 7 files. Okay, 7 lines, 7 lines of code loc. Okay, so this is the thing that nothing has been deleted. Okay, only one file has been changed and 7 insertion has been done. So plus sign would be there. If any deletions would be there in hello world.java file, it would show is that git -1 deletions. Okay, if any extra line has been removed or space has been added, something like that. Okay, it would show likewise. If space is added, it would show insertion. If space is deleted, it would show deletion. Okay, now again I'm going back to git log. Okay, so it would now give me the two commits. Okay, the first one was the added. It would be sorted based on the time. Okay, last come. Yes, last come last, very first. Okay, so in the stack manner. Okay, so now first of all, added hello world.java file. Okay, it was added by Romit, and this was my email ID, and this is added on this time. And on the second commit, see, just observe the commit IDs, both of them. Both of the IDs both are different. Okay, so as I told, this will be very unique one. Now what I did is now added the greetings.java file. Okay, on which date? September 12th, 11 o'clock. Okay, understood up till now?
Yes.
Okay, now going back, now I will just dive into example of modification. Okay, so hello world, and instead of hello world, I will just write it welcome to the webinar. Correct. Or and I would also add another system, another print line that would be um, stay home. Okay. Now, okay, I just modified it. Now instead of this, I just did this one. I just added greetings, and I just did it. I just gave an over here hello. Okay, I just changed the message over here, and the hello.java. I just changed the message, and I added another print statement. Correct. Now what I do is I just go back to our repository. First of all, just see the repository, I mean, in which we are coding the git bash. It is there in this folder, desktop webinar. Otherwise, it would not show all these things. So first, make sure that you are working in the same repository as the git bash is launched. Okay, or you can do it by uh, cd command. Okay, same as Windows terminal. Okay. Now what we will do is git status. Sorry. Clear git status. See, Now it will show that modified greetings.java. Okay, because for both of them we had added. Okay, greetings.java and hello world.java, they have been already been added into the repository. Okay, this repository I am talking about, the third one, the final destination repository. Okay, so now Git compares our working repository with this remote repository, this repository. Okay, so what has been modified? So work repository, this would be having two files, and the first file would be having hello world, and the second file would be having greetings print message. Okay, now using git status, it would just compare the working repository. Working repository is hosted in our development, in which where we are developing it, that is git webinar folder. Okay, and this repository in which we have already pushed it. Okay, a final one. Okay, so it compares it, and on comparing it, what it says that these two files have been modified. Okay, correct. So it serves the purpose, right, that the main version control system purpose was to track the changes. Now it is successfully tracking the changes, correct. Now I am just adding the files. Okay, now all these things are there in working repository. I have not added it and I have not committed it also. This as I told, this to this transition is called adding, and staging area to repository transition is called committing. Okay, now what I will do it, I will just add it. Okay, git add dot. What does the dot do? We used to write the permission like git add greetings.java. Okay, but now what we do is git add dot. Git add dot means it will just uh, push the file into staging repository, all the modified files. Okay, this is not there. Now let's see, git add. We have to add it manually only. Hello.
Sir, can we use star for adding all the files?
Yes, we can, but it is specific to specific version.
Oh, git add and then star in hyphen in inverted commas.
No, wait, we will just use this one only. Git add greetings.java. Okay, and git add hello world.java. Okay, correct. Now I'm just doing the git status. See, git status is this changes has been modified. Okay, so these changes are modified, but it is not been merged to a final repository. Okay, so what we will do is git commit -m modified both the files. Modified both files. Correct. This would be the message. Okay, so what we did is two file changed and two deletions we did. Okay, so it changed it. Now again we are doing it git status. So there is nothing, because the working directory is same as our remote directory, correct? Because nothing has been changed after committing it. Anything has not been changed. Now let's do it git log. Okay, so git, let me clear it. Git log. Okay, so first commit added hello world, added deleted, and the third commit was we modified both of the files. See the time and see the commit ID over here. Okay. Anything doubts up till now?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Now let's see that suppose a scenario is that you are working on a project, okay, and everything seems working fine, and suddenly your mom's calls that beta, please come over here, there is something emergency over there. Okay, so you just shut down your computer from your office and you just go to your home. Okay, on the next day you come over here and you forget it, that what all the changes I have made. Okay, for example, તમે લોકો અહીંયા ચેન્જ કઈ કરેલું છે, તમને કઈક અચાનકથી કોલ બોલ આવ્યો, તમે સ્ટેટસ કમિટ એડ કઈ કરેલું જ નથી, બરાબર, અને અચાનક કોલ આવ્યો, તમે બધું બંધ કરીને વયા ગયા, ઓપન કર્યું ત્યાં ચેન્જીસ હતા તમારા, ચેન્જીસ નથી એવું નથી, પણ ચેન્જીસ હતા તમારા, પણ પછી તમને યાદ નથી કે મેં શું ચેન્જ કરેલા હતા. ઓકે, don't consider this scenario, that is a 7 line or 8 line of code. Consider a scenario there will be thousands of lines and billions of lines of codes and thousands of folders and files. Okay, so any changes done will be difficult to manage and track. તમે ચેન્જીસ કરેલા હતા એ હવે પછી યાદ તમને નહીં હોય અત્યારે એમ કે શું ચેન્જીસ થયા હતા, કયા કયા ફાઇલમાં મલ્ટિપલ ફાઇલ્સમાં મલ્ટિપલ ચેન્જીસ કરેલા હશે એક નવા ફીચર એડ કરવા માટે કે એક નવું ફીચરને તમારે રિમૂવ કરવા માટે ઓર એલ્સ એ ફીચરને વધારે મોડિફાઈ કરવા માટે, કરેક્ટ. તો હવે એક્ઝામ્પલ હું આમાં દઉં કે મેં બીજા અહીંયા 3-4 સ્પેસ મૂક્યું, અહીંયા મેં પાછું આ કર્યું. નાઉ લેટ્સ add something like this again. Webinar. Okay, so suppose you have changed in your local repository, okay, but you have not added or you have not pushed anything, okay. તમે આમાં staging આમાં જ તમે change કર્યું, you have done all the changes over here, you have not given over here, not over here also, okay. Now what you can do is to just track the changes what you have done. You could add the command as git diff. Okay, so what it will show is, see, 2 spaces or 3 spaces has been added. See, 3 spaces, 2 spaces has been added. New system.println has been added, and a webinar is also been added. And in which file? Greetings.java file, correct. So what it will compare is, it will compare it your working repository with your repository which has been committed. Okay, after adding the commit message, after you commit it, it will just compare your working repository. So working repository in which you have made the changes but you have not pushed it, okay, in this final repository. So it will just using the git difference command, you will just able to track it. See, example that 6 and 7 are space changes, 8 and 9 would be a new print statements. Okay, so it changes, as I told, it tracks every space changes, or also it tracks even indentation changes also. Okay, got anything up till now, doubts? Hope I am clear to everybody. Okay, now suppose what you need is that suppose this file, the file you are working on, now go to desktop, go to git webinar. Suppose this is the file you are working on, and for some reason you want to delete this greetings.java file. Okay, you thought that there is nothing useful in this file, so let me delete it. Okay, so what you can do is git rm stands for remove greetings.java. Okay, so it has local modifications over there, so we need to first add it over here. Okay, we will not dive it over here, but this is the command, just make a note of it, that is git rm greetings.java. Okay, because we might need this file for further use also. Okay, so this will be just deleted from this, and it will be deleted from git also. Okay, so this way you can delete the file from your project, or this way you can delete from your project as well as from your git repository, working repository, as well as your from remote repository. Okay, now navigating back to the PPT. See, git log stands for the command, what all the commit message we have done. Okay, git add, git difference, and git rm, that is remove directory, the file name. Okay, clear up till now? Now suppose everything now is being under the control of git. Okay, now git tracks the changes. Hello. Okay, so everything is being now control of the git. Now git tracks the changes. Okay, what the changes you have done, what the changes you have not done. Okay, but what you need to do is you make a remote version control system. Okay, remote version system stands for a cloud version control system. Okay, that is GitHub, which I showed you. This is the GitHub, and what we were doing up till now was only git, that is our local thing. Okay, and this is the GitHub where all your local thing would be pushed into a cloud based server. Okay, Got it. So remote repository means that suppose let's take an example over here. Why do we need a remote repository? Okay, you might have understood why we need a version control system, but why we need a remote version control system? Okay, so for example, that you are working on a project, okay, and suddenly you added all the files, everything works fine, and suddenly your Windows crashes, and you go to a computer operator, and he says that you need to wipe it out of all the data, you need to clear your hard disk, and you need to format all the data over here. So what you can do is you have no option other than wipe it out. Okay, so all the things you have made, the changes, all the things will be lost, and you have no control over it. Okay, so the remote version control system would be used when local storage might have a problem, like this folder, something by, for example, you feel that this folder is of no use, you are clearing your all the space in your computer, and you feel that this folder is no use, and you just delete it, and later on you remember that that folder was most important thing. Okay, this happens very few times, but it happens. There is a case where it happened also. Okay, or some system had stopped working, or you have dropped spilled tea over your laptop. Okay, so there is nothing option other than wiping off, or you need to change your laptop. Okay, so but the another most use of remote version control system is local storage problem is also been solved. It nullifies it, I mean, it solves the problem, it resolves the problem, but collaboration problem is also solved by version control system. Okay, for example, you and your friend and a team of three. Okay, for example, this is your team: Alice, Bob, and Jack. Okay, or example, A, B, and C. You ABC are group partners, and you are working on a multimedia social media platform. Okay, so you have divided the task individually. So A will have to work on uploading the post functionality, B has to work on playing the videos functionality, and C has to work on messaging features. Okay, so so what you did is that all of them started their feature working on their feature into their local system. Okay, so they all started working in their local system. Okay, but now it's in their local system, A's functionality is working fine. In B's local system, B's functionality is working fine, and C's functionality is working fine. Okay, but we need a unified platform in which all of these three code will be merged into a one single unit of code, correct? Because you will not be showing individually A's functionality, B's functionality, and C's functionality. You would be having to show it into a one single platform, social media platform. You need not need to create a three social media platform. Okay, so what you will do is you will have to just push it into a remote directory. So this will be a remote directory in the sense it is a cloud-based directory which can be accessed from anywhere, and it can be accessed by the legitimate users. Okay, so this is the open source. This can be accessed by me and you as well. But something like a proprietary code system, like a Facebook or something like that, we can't access the code over there. It might be hosted on the Git, but we not be able to see it over here because this is the proprietary system. So this code might be a public code, and the Facebook code or Amazon code might be a private code, correct? So where were we? Yes. So collaboration example. Okay, so all of three has to work on the same feature. Okay, and sorry, same social media platform, but all of them have been allotted three individual platforms. Okay, so remote version control system, what they will do is they will just send all their code into a one unit. Okay, for example, let me show you by obtain. For example, this is A, this is B, and this is C. Okay, they have made changes over this. They have made changes over as per their functionality given. Okay, now what happens is that B's changes might not be there in A, and C's changes also might not be there in A. Okay, or A has only his changes, what he has done into his local system. Okay, now B might not be having A and C's changes. Likewise, C might not be having B and A's changes, correct? But at the point of time, they need all of these changes to work them as a single unit. Okay, so what A does is A just creates a remote repository of their app, that is Instagram, and A just pushes his code, B just pushes his code, and C just pushes his code. Okay, so into a single code, all of this code has been merged. Okay, so this will be a code master. Okay, anyone was asking what was the master. Okay, the master will be a unified thing in which when collaborators are using, the master would be the very basic branch or most important branch in which it will contain the so error free code. Okay, and it will contain all the functionalities developed, and it has been merged to this master branch. Okay, master branch is nothing like, this is the root branch. Okay, now what happens that after pushing into master branch, and after B has also done pushing and C has also done the pushing, what A decide is A just takes the clone of the master branch into his local system. Okay, so after taking the clone of his master branch into A system, A would might access now B's code and C's code. Likewise, B would now get access to A's code and C's code, and C would get access to A and B's code. Correct. So this is the single unified platform. In this, for collaboration to work, we need a remote version control system. Likewise, the track changes can be done by local version control system also. But when it comes to collaboration, a remote version control system, that is abbreviated at RVCS, is needed. Correct. Any doubts in this example or any doubts up till now?
No.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, so this is the what all things I explained an example over here. Now, why we are choosing a remote version control system? Okay, remote version control system may be GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, etc. Okay, so what I told first was there are first of all, let's clear it. New one. Okay, no, don't save it. First of all, what I told is there is a first thing would be we would be having. See, first of all, we would be having version control system, that is VCS. Okay, in VCS we have many types. That is, first one will be Git, AWS, etc. Okay, but inside Git now there might be a many remote version control system, RVCS, which supports Git as version control system. Okay, so they might be GitHub, GitLab, etc. Okay, for AWS there might be another remote working repository. Okay, so for Git as a version control system, we are having GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket, etc. Many are there, but to name a few, and most popular ones are sorted accordingly. Okay, so GitHub is the most popular one, comes after GitLab and Bitbucket. Okay, etc. So most used remote version control system is GitHub, and Microsoft acquired GitHub for $7.5 billion. Okay, and GitHub is awarded as a largest community of developers. Okay, so how developers means that it has users base of near about 40 million and counting, and it has repositories of 100 million plus. Okay, now I hope that everything is clear related to local version control system. Okay, so I'm just logging off out here, and let's see that what is the GitHub. Okay, now see GitHub. See, this is the site page and remote version control system. You need to sign up by giving your email ID and other details asked for it, and you would be able to sign it up. Okay, now these all the things are used. They are using GitHub for their code. Okay, IBM, Google, PayPal, NASA, and etc. Node and Facebook, to name a few. Okay, now what we can do is with GitHub, we can just explore the GitHub. Okay, explore in the sense that many new coding are being done, many most popular things they have been trending over. So for example, let's start with the typing the word corona. It is the most popular keyword in nowadays. Okay, so see, this is the repository corona COVID that has been done by GeoHot. Okay, and it contains the Python file. Okay, so this we can see, this we can term it as a open source code. Okay, so all this, it has 27,000 results of only corona name. Okay, corona tracker app and everything. So it contains what the language it uses. So it uses JavaScript, it uses HTML, R language, and so on. Okay, Java, Python, HTML, Dart, Lua, Jupyter framework, Kotlin, etc. And we can just sort it over, and JavaScript is the most used, and later, last comes the PHP. Okay, now we can explore over here, and we can just see the source code as I made you saw the source code of this one, Arogya Setu app. So this is the source code. Okay, in which we can see what all the changes have been done. Okay, so this is the basic uh, git searching functionality. Filter also we can do, we can just explore it, we can just try use the trending repositories also. For example, let's search it, we will just go to explore, we would just go to trending. So this is the trending repository. I mean, trending repository means that it has been used or it has been searched multiple times a day, and it has been pushed commits, and it is most active repository in the sense. Okay, correct. You can just see the code of Mozilla over here also. That is, let's search Firefox. See, this is the Mozilla Firefox iOS, Geodeck driver, web driver, Mozilla Firefox for Android, and whatnot. Okay, so this is the Firefox application for iOS, and it is made in Swift. And you could just view it. You can make the changes. Okay, but you can't directly give the changes to this branch. Okay, first of all, you need to make your branch, change it in your branch, and give it to this main branch, and the only one which has repository access will merge it. Okay, so for example, let's see third party. See, this is the Swift coding done over here, correct? So as I told that there will be multiple changes, and see, this is the issues over here, what issues they have been reported it, and they 565 has been opened, 121, 1217 has been closed. Okay, so this is not the scope of our webinar, but if time permits, we will just take it after a few weeks or something like that. Now let me show you about Git few things of watching, star, and fork. Any of you know what is the meaning of all these three buttons? What does the watch do, and what does the star do, and what does the fork do? Anyone? Okay, so what does the watch do is, see, if we are doing a watch over here, if you are clicking on the watch, okay, let's sign it up to my account. Okay, so when I click over to the watch, I will be watching it for all. I will be getting the notifications for all the changes made to this branch. Okay, if someone has been pushing the changes, someone has been sending the merge request, anything changes has been done to this file, you would get notified automatically. Okay, so what is the star? Star means that you are very extremely happy with this project, or you want to learn about this project. It is same like bookmark. Okay, so when I just start it over here, so when I go this, and when I go to your stars, see, I will get a notification. I will get in my home page that this is the star, that this project I am starring it. So I am just following this project. In simple words, you can tell them. And what is the use of fork? Okay, so as someone told that someone had a doubt that if we make the changes into their branch, we might make some mistake, and whole of the code might stop working. Okay, so what does this fork do is, once we create the fork means that uh, you can think of a similar example of a fork only. Okay, a fork has one handle and it has three noses. Okay, pointed noses. Okay, similarly in this fork also, this is the main branch. So you can term this as a master branch. Once you fork it, means that this whole branch will come to your local branch. Okay, in your repository. See, I am showing it. I am forking it. Want to just uh, move our local repository into a remote based repository. Okay, so what we can do is, we can just create a new repository, and a new repository means git webinar. Okay, So this is available repository name. So what we can do is we can just create it, or we can give a private key also. But let's others can access also. We are giving it as private. Okay. And once we create the repository, we are all set. Okay. So what things needs to be done is that once all these things are been done, what we do is we just go to over here. We just type status that anything has been changed. Let's clear it. Now just type git status. So we have modified it. Now let's add git add greetings.java. Okay, now git commit -m modified greetings.java file. Okay, now again git status. Okay, nothing is done. Now what we can do is, now હવે આપણા લોકલમાં તો છે આખી આખી ફાઇલ, all the changes we have done are there in the local, but how to upload it into a remote repository? Okay, in this git webinar project, okay, this is my name, and how to push it into a webinar thing. Okay, that is our GitHub repository. Okay, so we can do is git init, git commit, git master, but all things we have done. Okay, but see, we are see, this is the one for which we are creating a new repository. Okay, but we have already created in our local, so we just need to push it. Okay, for pushing this, all the commands git provides it. So let's copy this. So what we will do is just git add remote origin. Origin stands for this. This is the origin. So this we can give any name over here, that is my repository or something like this. So anytime you push it, you need to give that this particular thing. You did not give this particular thing. You have to just give it this name only. Okay, so we are just initializing this origin variable with this thing. Okay, this URL, correct? So we will just add it, remote adding. So okay, we have added it, a remote origin. Now we are just pushing it into a master branch. Okay. I don't know, something went wrong. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. We will just go to here. We will just do git bash over here. Okay, now we will just paste it over here. Okay, some changes I might have done. Okay, and we are just adding it. That is paste it. Okay, correct, got it. Paste. Copy. Okay, now we are all set. Now we are pushing. Okay, pushing means that all the changes in our local directory will be pushed to this one. So paste it. So where it will be pushed? It will be pushed under my name and under the name of Git webinar. Okay. So let's go to this. Let's refresh this. Okay, go to this webinar particular. See. Okay. What it says, modified greetings.java. This was my last commit. This was the first modified both of the files. We can just go to commits. What are the commits we have done? See, first one was added hello world.file, added greetings.java file. This is the commit ID, which was I was talking about it earlier. Okay, so 12 September 4 commits has been done. Okay, so And now my colleague Chirag wants that to contribute to this file. Okay, so what I can do is I can just add a user over here. Uh, okay, here is not there. Okay, I can go to settings. I can just add a user over here. Developer settings. Okay, account is also not there. Repositories, yes. Okay, so this is my friend who gave me the access of this platform, and it is finally a project, and it is kept as private. And all these things are there. I forked this. I forked the presentation once. I created this game. I created and I just pushed it, and I forked this APIs. Okay, so this is the thing, and how? Yes, collaborators. We can add the collaborators over here. So I can add a collaborator to Git webinar. If anyone can give you the email address, they will get just their email. They will get the access repository to this webinar project. But though it is open source, you can get the access. If it is not open source, you need to give it compulsory to invite a collaborator. If it is private, but if it is open source, I mean it is a public repository. Anyone can edit without inviting a collaborator. Uh, any doubts up till now? So, are you guys clear up till now? So, what I just want you to just explore the Git, just upload your resume, upload your files of the practicals done, and just create a public repository. And once creating a public repository, you can share it over the mail to your professors, and they can just view it over there only. They no need to just give a hard copy or soft copy in mail or drive, something like that. Okay, so this is the very added advantage of either in your cap. So it might be very useful, because this is the one thing which is not understood, that the students of 5th and 7th semester might be knowing. But if it is not known to you, it might be an added advantage. So uh, uh, that's all from my side. So thank you. Okay, any questions or any feedback if you want to like to share? Anybody? Okay, so we will wrap it up today's session. Thank you all for joining the session. You can contact me at my email ID, that is mehtaromitk@gmail.com, and you can just I will just provide all the PPTs and anything to your professor HODs if you might have a look at it. Okay. Thank you for your cooperation. Bye.